You can settle your nervous system. And we talked about this earlier, like getting to a place in your life where you feel safe.
Yes.
That's where the healing comes from. That's where the transformation comes from. You can't heal. You can't get healthy when you're in fight or flight. You just can't.
Yes.
It's not sustainable.
And welcome back to Bloom, Build, Birth, the podcast where we talk about women, all of the ages, phases, stages that we go through, and the way that we can make the best and the most out of this special time in our lives. Today, I am so thrilled to be joined by Angela Barnett. She is the most amazing. First of all, Angela, I want to talk to you a little bit about how we met, which I think is so special. And I think it speaks to the age and the era we're in as women, because for so long, it's been difficult to connect, I think. I hear women who will say, oh, I don't know how to make friends, or I don't trust women. But I think with the advent of social media, we have an opportunity, a rich opportunity to kind of find our sisters and to find women who don't necessarily sync up perfectly. Like, we're not looking for clones. We're looking for collaboration. We're looking for sisters, right? Yeah. Women who mirror our values and who align with us. And so we're going to talk about all the stuff that you're creating, that you're writing, that you're serving up for women in our health. And Ms. Barnett, I just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. I am Angela Barnett, and I am a holistic nutritionist, and I'm the founder of 100 Healthy Women. And it's more than a community. It's an ecosystem that we are building for women to really learn how to reconnect with themselves.
Yeah.
And, and what that means is just, creating an infrastructure for that to happen. It's a platform that is practitioner led and community led. And it provides support and education and experiences and events in a way for women to really reconnect with food, nature, movement, and that like inner intelligence, right? So it's setting women up for success. So that is what I do right now. I'm a mother of 3 adult kids. I call them kidults. And I'm bi-coastal between LA and New York, and I'm getting acclimated to this new phase of my life. And it feels good. It feels really good.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you started with infrastructure, because I think so often as women, we turn to the rules and the standards outside of us. Right? Like, what's the normative practice? What's the typical thing? But really, that infrastructure starts with us.
It does.
Right? It really starts with us. And how would you say, just in your work, your personal journey really into holistic health, what has been really important for you to create that infrastructure for yourself?
I think what started off important for me was just losing myself.
Yeah.
Having some health issues. I developed an autoimmune disorder, and it really kind of stopped me in my tracks and made me start to really think about what was happening in my body, right? Because you talked about the infrastructure, and a lot of times we outsource that, right? And so, I had to really get real with myself in that moment. And it's a moment I'll never forget. I was sitting in my hairstylist chair, and she brought it to my attention. I started developing alopecia. And as women, we navigate the stress. And that's what I was doing. As a mother, a wife, I was navigating the stress and not really honing in on what was happening. That's where it really started. I really started to ask myself some deep, serious questions that allowed me to be real with myself. And it was difficult, but I knew that I wanted to get to the other side. So I had to just really hone in,
You mentioned autoimmune diseases, and I had to look real quick because I knew it was a data point when you said that. I'm like, I remember a data point, and I looked it up, and it's approximately 80% of autoimmune diseases impact women. And
Yeah.
I remember looking at research a while back about this as I'm working on things for my business, and it was tied to stress and
Yes.
not speaking up, not
Yes.
holding your own boundaries. It's the infrastructure is what it is, right? It's like being able to live your authentic life and truth. And when you are not able to do that,
Hmm.
you end up moving and kind of backing your way into disease. And I would
Yes.
love to know from you, in your work and your lived experience, period, where do you find that women tend to start to disconnect from themselves and from their bodies?
I think it's at that moment where you outsource your health.
Mm.
We see it. I think so much in our community, but, we're taught to listen to other people when it comes to our health, right? And
Yeah.
the disconnection comes when we're not tapped into that inner knowingness that we have, right? The whispers, the gut feeling. We have a
Mhm.
gut feeling. We have the butterflies. We have the heart palpitations for a reason. Like those are our body's signals that something is going on, but we're taught to push through. We're taught to, medicate,
Yes.
and we're taught to really outsource our health to, Western medicine and I love medicine. I have a lot of doctors in my family.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely a place and a role. But I think what happens when a woman or just a person in general disconnects from themselves is when they put so much emphasis on what someone else says that they should be doing. Right.
That's
And even
right.
if it's not necessarily a medical practitioner, but even we're seeing now with social media,
Mhm.
and how people place so much emphasis on what a wellness influencer is telling you to do or take or eat,
Right.
and not really understanding what your body needs, you know.
Right. And
So I
that
think,
comes like that goes into biohacking, right? Like that's something that I've been a little bit obsessed with these last maybe like
mm-hmm,
10 years maybe.
mm,
It was really 2016 when I think about it, when I started to say, I gotta get serious. It still took me some time, even from there, to really get to commit to myself. But that's when I
yeah,
remember realizing I have a problem. Like I'm disconnected from where I'm supposed to be. And
yes.
it was a mindset shift. And I'd love
Mm.
to know from you, like in terms of mindset and like pattern, how would you suggest a woman? Because looking at her Hive Collective, I have three phases, right? We have the bloom phase, we have the build, and we have the birth. When
Mhm,
you are in that kind of bloom phase, that's when you're thinking about thinking. That's when you are
mhm,
able to gather your data. What would
mhm.
you recommend a woman who is in that phase of her life start to do to begin to shift her mindset?
And you know it's hard.
It
It
is.
is so hard. And I think that's the question I get the most. Like, what do I do? How do I change? How do I take the first step?
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I could suggest anything, it would just be to really hone in on your intuition. If
Mm.
you're feeling something, that means you're ready, right? And then to just do things very slowly. Like you said, it takes time. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of time to shift your mindset from habits and behaviors and life circumstances that we're dealing with, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think what I always say is to just ask yourself when you're starting out and really be honest is how do you want to feel?
Mm.
Not like, oh, I want to lose weight, you know, but how do
Right.
you want to feel? I want to feel energetic. I want to feel lively. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to, like,
Mm.
how do you want to feel? And then once you figure out how you want to feel,
Mhm.
then slowly start to take steps that are going to lead you in that direction. Like what is going to make you feel good? You know,
Yes.
like, and this is what started for me
Mhm.
is when I ate that burger, I knew I didn't feel good.
Right.
And
Right.
I loved it. I loved the burger,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew I didn't feel good. And
Right.
so, and that's just a little simple kind of, but so I said to myself, okay, Angela, you're smart. You're a smart girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is not working for you. So
Yeah.
you want to feel good. Just eliminate the meat. So my
Yeah.
thing is just start small. Like
Mm-hmm.
shifting your mindset and your whole lifestyle takes a lot of work. Like I watch you, I see what you do, I see your journey and what you share. People think it's easy and it's not. Like
It's not
living
easy.
this life is probably the hardest.
It not only is it not easy, it takes a lot of time. Like
Yes,
I think the habits begin to get more kind of stacked and built in.
they do. Yes,
At the same time, getting to that point though is not easy. And
it's not.
even now, there are days when I'm like, I simply got to do it, or I simply have to
Have to do it.
eat that or not eat that or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I love that you mentioned, how do you want to feel? I really think that can tie into, and this is something that just popped up when you said that. I'm like, yeah, how do you want to feel? That was a big thing for me. I didn't feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel good. I didn't feel right. I was inflamed. My hips hurt
Mm-hmm.
like hell. I didn't feel good. And so the other thing was, what do you want to be able to do?
Yes.
Because I didn't feel good. So I'm getting out of the car, Angela, and my hips hurt.
Yes.
I'm 45 years old at that point, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
only 45 and my hips,
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to get out of the car and stabilize myself
Yes.
before I could even start walking because that's how much my hips hurt me.
Yes.
And I have a 2-story house and suddenly going up the stairs, I'm hearing my knees crunch. That was the sign for me that
Yes.
the fact that my chest wall was so inflamed that I was going in for MRIs and mammograms and biopsies. And so it's the feeling and what do you want to do? I would even add,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's the awareness piece.
It is. It is.
And if you don't get triggered by that, I think it's hard to sustain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is. And a lot of people are scared, it's because that awareness takes honesty and it takes, like facing some hard truths,
Yes.
but it's necessary. It's
Yeah.
so necessary.
Is that kind of what led you to start, we talked about kind of the awareness, and that's in that whole, phase where you are really blooming in terms of building. You've built this platform, you've built 100 healthy women. Like, how do you think about, you talked about infrastructure. What was the vision? What led you to create 100 healthy women?
I think it was that. I think it was just understanding that to be able to heal, right? And to be able to live well and have healthy practices, it's possible.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was more sustainable with community.
Yes.
Like I had done, it was more sustainable and it was more transformative. I think what the turning point for me was I had done I led, I think it was like 10 women on a 14-day water fast during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We all did it for different reasons, but man, did we have some serious success stories.
Wow.
I mean, women who could barely walk, they had like serious inflammation in their knees, their backs.
Yes.
Women that were going through menopause and had like hot flashes, like where they were sweating, where all of that went away. All of it went away. And we went through that journey together. And it was probably one of the hardest things I had ever done.
Yes.
What I learned from that and what came from that was that, wow, look how powerful we are together, right? But more so just demystifying certain things in our community that are healthy, right? Like I had a lot of backlash from family members when I did that fast.
I bet you did.
They thought I was crazy.
Yes. Like you got to eat.
You're like, what are you doing? You got to eat. You got to, and the things that became aware, that the awareness that came out of that for us, like we overemphasize food. We overeat in this country. We eat for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Our body doesn't need all that much food, so
Yes.
I led that group. And then I came out of this, like, we need to cultivate a community where women feel safe and they're supported and they have accountability. Cause that's really what it was. The accountability. A lot of us were like, okay, I'm tapping out. I'm done, day 3, day 5. And the accountability and the sisterhood and the love that was rallied around each woman in that group. I was like, I want to bottle this up because our community needs it, like, desperately. Yeah. So that, and two, just going back to the infrastructure, there's a lot of wellness platforms out there. There's a lot of wellness influencers out there, but creating an infrastructure where you have the accountability, you have the education behind it. Yeah. You have the support, you have the accountability, you have the protocols. I felt like this is something that was desperately needed.
Yes, for sure. I just, like, only today had seen a video of this woman, and she was going in on women and how she doesn't need friends. She doesn't mess with women, doesn't trust women, and on the one hand, I want to be like, girl, you're wrong. But on the other hand, I get it. I get it. If you've experienced hurt, if you've been, traumatized in relationships with whoever, your mother, sister, cousins, friends, peers at work, bosses, we've all had some form of that.
Right.
And I think the trick or the goal and the difficult work is figuring out how you don't let that keep you from your sisters.
That's right.
Because we really are all we had. We really are better together. And we are not made to do this by ourselves.
No. And that goes, it's ancestral. Like, women are meant to be together in community, heal together, heal their families together. Yeah. I hate to hear women say that because I'm like, oh man, sisterhood is beautiful. Like, I couldn't have done life without my girls. I couldn't.
No. And I often will say that there are no perfect women, right? Neither of us are perfect. I'm going to make mistakes all the time. But when my goal is to be safe, right? Yes. For you, for other women, for my daughter, for women in my community, like, that is the goal. And I think if we have that as the goal, to simply be safe.
Yes.
Not perfect, because you're going to make mistakes. But when you are safe, you're willing to admit you made a mistake. Yeah. Right? When you are safe, you're willing to change your behavior and pivot and listen and learn and grow. So I think the key is to not expect perfection from each other, but to absolutely expect safety. I think that's a very, baseline, like, safe. You should be safe as a baseline.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So thinking about sustainability, how does a woman do what I think is so important when you have a personal board of health directors? Like you said, we were not outsourcing our health. Let's be clear. We're not giving and handing the keys of our own health and wellness to anybody, but you do need to have a team.
Yes.
Who would you say you need to have as your personal board of health directors for Angela? Like, what does that look like for you?
I love that question because it's so necessary, because we cannot do this life alone. And if we want to live a long time and a healthy life, we need that board. We need that board.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's definitely, like I said, my tribe, right? Because having a group, whether it's one person, I tell my daughter, you don't have to have 10 friends, but if you have one or two people who will support you and keep you accountable and be honest with you.
Yes.
That's key. That's the key to life. So I would say my tribe, definitely. And also I believe in just learning from women. Like, I'm a perpetual student. So I believe in learning from women who I respect and I admire, whether it's someone who is serious about their movement, their exercise, if they, work out, not so much that they're a trainer, but that fitness is the core of who they are.
Yeah.
A nutritionist, someone who, like my friends call on me a lot, whether it's trying to get their kids to eat certain foods or they're trying to work through menopause.
Yes.
But having someone that you trust to not just tell you what to do, but help you figure out what to do. Right. So I definitely say a nutritionist. And going back to the tribe, I think it's important to have someone in your life that you can talk to.
Yeah.
That you can be honest with and vulnerable with, whether it's a therapist or a parent or a friend. And then I think some type of mentor, like a mentor that's going to help you thrive in your business, in your finances, in your health, in your relationships, just someone that you trust, that you can really rely on.
I love that you said mentor, because I think, and maybe this isn't the case for others, but I feel like we might think we're too big or too old or too seasoned or whatever to have a mentor. Like, no, you need a mentor.
Absolutely.
I think at every stage, like I love to sit at the feet of women who've already done it, right? Like, I feel like my job is to do this as well as I can for the ladies coming behind me. But I also recognize women who go before me and the lessons. And I mean, when my grandmothers were here, oh my God, I love to hear them talk. And now that I have my mom and her sisters, I love to hear them talk. But any woman who has, that experience, that I don't need to recreate the wheel.
That's right.
I don't have to touch the stove.
That's right.
That's right. What would you, okay, like, I believe you. It's hot. I believe you. What would you say are like, right? Are there any foundational habits that you have learned from a mentor or an elder that you have taken that you would pass on to a listener right now?
I don't know if I learned it from an elder or a mentor, but I think some fundamental habits I think the first one is food. If we just get a hold of our food, our eating, how we eat, what we eat, how we cook it, how we source it, that's the first step. Like I tell people, if you're getting into this game, you're trying to get healthy, you're trying to change your life, don't try to do everything, right? Like it's overwhelming. Start small and start with food and start eliminating, like my brother has some serious health challenges and I'm helping him. And I just went over to his kitchen and I'm like, we're going to take things out and we're going to replace them. Just start there. Start in your kitchen. Start with the bare necessities, what you need, real food, right?
Yes.
Foundational habits are, for me, because food is medicine. And once you incorporate good nutrient dense foods into your life is going to change. You know that. It's going to change,
I tell people when I stopped eating fast food, first of all, I didn't realize I had a fast food addiction. I didn't even realize it, right? Like I'm 218 plus pounds and not realizing I had a fast food addiction. It wasn't until I stopped and then felt the detox essentially of it. Yes. And then in like 6 months, I had a craving. 6 months. And I don't even think it was a craving for real, Angela. I think it was more like a habit. It was like I was out and about running late. It was a habit that kicked in where I was like, well, it's late. I'm going to grab something on my way.
Yeah.
It was the Arch folks. And I bit into that burger and I could not believe the taste. I could not believe how salty it was. I could not believe I couldn't eat it. I literally could not eat it. And that was for 6 months. I had not had it. And it's like my palate had completely
changed.
And I tell people, and of course, the research shows us this, Eating fast food impacts your brain. It impacts how you think.
Absolutely.
It impacts your cognitive ability. And my belief, right? I can only prove so much, I can only research so much, but I believe that when you get on that hamster wheel of eating fast food, it is very hard to stop, because it's almost like it makes you continue to crave
Yeah.
it, and you don't taste how bad and unhealthy it is.
You don't. And don't get me started on, I think a lot of it is intentional, but that's
I
up
think so
for another
too. I think so
conversation.
too. Right? Like we can only prove what we can prove, but I agree.
Yes.
That is
And
not an
I think
accident.
that's what I am so passionate about, especially bringing that narrative into our community, because we live, a lot of us live in food deserts, and
Yes,
you eat what you eat, right? But it is directly correlated to brain health
it
and
is.
behavior and cognitive ability. And I'm so passionate about that. I mean,
Yes.
if we could just start there, I think we will see a dramatic change.
I mean, honestly, like I believe that your ability to even create is impacted. I notice I'm more creative. I notice that I have better sleep. I mean, there's so many like things that changed. And I know there's
Yes.
all I mean,
Yes.
we can have a whole other series
Yeah.
and talk about that, because my goodness. But you're right. If you're going to change one thing at a time, and really you should, right? You should change one thing.
Just
If
one.
you don't know where to start, food is where you start.
Food is where you start. Because once you change that, like you said, you start feeling better. Once you start feeling better, then you can work out. Like a lot of people who are overweight or unhealthy, they're like, oh, work out, like my brother. He's like, well, my doctor told me to work out. He told me to work out. He told me to walk, but he feels horrible. He feels horrible. So he doesn't have the energy.
Yeah. Not to mention the potential joint damage that you're doing. I tell people like you could be hurting yourself, like literally hurting yourself. So
Absolutely.
I agree
Absolutely.
with the nourishing your body first.
Yes. And then, with that, it's like the food, and then the movement, and then the sleep. Sleep is like super important for our health, for our longevity.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that, especially mothers. We're, typically push through. We hustle, we grind, we stay up late, we wake up early, and now during menopause too, a lot of us are kind of waking up. But sleep, I think, like, is super important to kind of hone in on that and what you can do to regulate your nervous system. So yeah, those are probably my 3 big foundational habits.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And, so we talked about kind of the awareness piece and, shifting your mindset and thinking about the approach, right? We talked about the building of your network, your personal board of health directors, having that accountability partner or group, right? And food, which again, when you're thinking about, the blooming part, like you're collecting data, figure out who is doing something that works for them, and would you want to try to incorporate that?
Yeah.
And then when you move into the build phase, that's when you're beating your wings and you're kind of figuring out and practicing, putting all your theory into application, and to see what would work, what kinds of workouts do you want to try? What kinds of foods do you want to try? To your point, going meatless, right? What kinds of tactics will work for you and will be sustainable?
Yeah.
Now we're going to shift more into kind of that birthing phase where you have more sovereignty, where you are experiencing that embodiment and expansion. Not to say that there's like this evolution where you go and you're done. Y'all, this is not linear, right?
No.
There will be situations where you will absolutely have to go back to the bloom phase on some things, right?
Absolutely.
Or you experience a loss, and next thing you know, you're back in the build phase. It's happened to clients before. But when you are at whatever age of life, when you are in that more sovereign birthing phase, what does sovereignty look like when it comes to your health? In real life, as a woman over 40, what does that look like?
Oh my God. It looks like trusting yourself. It looks like, and that takes time. It like we talked about before, it takes time for someone to get to that point where they trust themselves over anyone else, right? But once you do get to that point, realizing you have autonomy, you have the ability to make choices for yourself. And then once you realize that, and then you start to trust yourself, you're like, oh my God, this feels good. This feels really good. It is difficult though, because you're going to have some challenges. Not only are you going to have setbacks, but you're going to have outside people challenging your decisions.
Yes.
I remember when I started making changes in my life and in my eating, there were certain family members who took offense. They took offense.
Give me an example of what that might show up like, because I think there are some people who probably feel the same way, have experienced it, but don't even know or don't know how to combat it. It's like, how did that show up, and what did you do?
It's like even going back to the fasting or just choosing to not eat meat or poultry or anything. I'm a pescatarian. But you go around your family and there's certain things that are at the, family dinner and holiday dinner, and you're not eating that anymore. Oh, well, why aren't you eating that? And I had family members that really took offense.
Yeah.
And felt like it was kind of a dig. But I think just staying in your truth and understanding that everyone is different and we all have autonomy,
Yes.
Not everyone chooses to practice it, but just understanding that the choices I'm making now, you may not like them and you may not agree with them, but they're for my benefit.
Right. They're not for you to agree with.
They're not for you to agree. And I'm tapping into my longevity practice. Like, I see what's going to help me to live longer. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting piece to the puzzle, because I think a lot of people, especially in our community, kind of go through that, with food and, I know you're not going to put it this way. And,
it's very much tied to our culture and our social norms.
Yes.
Class, all kinds of things it's tied to. So
yes. But once you get to that point of sovereignty, it feels really good to be able to trust yourself with that inner knowingness, knowing how your body wants to feel, knowing what foods work for you, because what works for you may not work for me. My honey eats meat. I can't eat meat. I'm a true believer in eating for your blood type. So I think
me too. It changed my life, girl. It changed my whole life.
Game changer. But I think a lot of times people are seeing things on social media like, oh, I'm going to try that and I'm going to try that. And my thing is, I believe if you need to eat meat, eat it, right? Make sure it's a good piece of meat.
Right.
But just really understanding what your body needs and how your body feels is such a liberating and empowering feeling. And when you get to that point, you're like, I got this. Like, I got it.
And you're not going back. When you get that kind of flow state with your wellness, it's
and
not.
You've gotten there. I've seen it in you. Like, you've got.
You know what it is? Because it's not external anymore, right? I think for so long, I can admit it. Like, I was like, I got to be 150. I got to be 150. And that was the goal. Was that number on the scale.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with my health. Had nothing to do with my blood panel. Had nothing to do, it was like, what size are my jeans?
Yeah. Right?
I'll be honest. And then I got to 148 and I didn't like how I looked or how I felt. I didn't like that I wasn't strong. I didn't like that my butt was gone. I didn't like how my face looked. Like, I didn't like myself at that number that I thought was the goal. Yes. So and that was all external, right? Because in my mind, that was the number that I had to hit to be, I don't know, the right size. But when I had to turn inward, I'm like, okay, this is not for me. And I feel like you talk about this in your 14-day survival mode reset. I deserve to feel good. Let's talk about that, because that was the thing. I didn't feel good. So tell me about that reset and what that looks like for a woman who's searching for that sovereignty and embodiment.
part of me putting that reset together was just thinking about like what worked for me.
Yeah.
What worked for me, what I took, what I did to get to a place where I felt good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's about. It's not really about the weight but once you do all of these things and incorporate these things into your life, you do start to feel good. And when you feel good, you look good, you know? So the reset that I put together was kind of a way for me to just, honor the things that I went through. I have, a lot of women that ask me, well, Angela, how did you do this? Or how did you navigate this divorce? And you did it with such grace. And, how did you, get through your alopecia? And so it was really a way for me to just kind of centralize it, because it does take a lot of work. And it took a lot of intention. I talk about in the ebook, how I lived in my masculine for like my whole adult life, I think a lot of women don't understand how detrimental that is.
Yes.
So I studied on that a lot. And like, even just like wearing my red nails and what, all of the things that I did to kind of feminize myself, my life, my environment was a way for me to settle my nervous system. And that's the thing. If you can settle your nervous system, and we talked about this earlier, like getting to a place in your life where you feel safe.
Yes.
That's where the healing comes from. That's where the transformation comes from. You can't heal. You can't get healthy when you're in fight or flight. You just can't.
Yes.
It's not sustainable. So I put that together because people were just coming to me and like, well, what should I take here? Well, what do you do at night? And what do you, it's a way for me to just share. But I urge people to just, take tidbits, but do what feels right for you. Right.
Yes.
Try to just incorporate things that work for you.
As you're talking about it, I think what's coming up for me is to remember that you have permission to do this. Like, you have the free will, you have the ability, but for so many of us, we are programmed and believe that we don't. We believe that we first got to take care of everybody else.
Yeah.
That you got to show up for everybody else. And then whatever is left over, whatever crumbs, then that's for you. And that simply is not sustainable for us.
It's not.
As women, and not as Black women, especially.
No, it's not. And it will catch up. People think they can do it all. You can't.
No.
You can't. It will catch up to you. And when I, with the alopecia, that was my telltale sign. Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
I need to start doing some things differently.
And your body is going to tell you, right?
Oh.
Like for me, it was the inflammation. It was the breast tumors that I still am dealing with. It was the fibroids that I thankfully was, able to get rid of. Because again, these changes, and this is the thing, this is what I would tell women: if you can get ahead of this and start to make these changes in your 20s and 30s, I'm so proud when I see young women who are on it.
Yeah,
right. I see women in their 20s and 30s who are already regulating that nervous system, already keeping that pH balance, right? Like they're already, strict program. They're getting their
I
rest.
love it. The Gen Zers and the millennials are on it.
I love that so much. And yes, because you got to remember, you got to undo that damage. And that's what I feel like I'm doing every single day. That's why.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that's years of damage that I did to my body by eating crap.
Unlearning
right?
The habits, the things that, we incorporated from our family, our home. It's an unlearning process, and it takes a lot of time. And for some people, it can be really traumatic. It's because you have to release certain things. Yeah. And, especially in the Black community, like food is so much a part of our culture. Well, for every person, but the types of food that we eat, right, is so much a part of our culture. And so releasing that can sometimes be traumatic for people.
It's tied to a lot, and I often think about when people talk about, something running in my family. I often wonder, like, does it, or is this a habit that you are used to,
Well,
right?
it's the epigenetics, right? Like there's things that we are born into,
Of
right?
course.
Like we hear that quote all the time, there are our genes load the gun, but our
Mhm.
behaviors, our environment, the things we put in our body,
That's
that's
right.
what pulls the trigger. So
Yes.
my father died of congestive heart failure. My
Right.
brothers have heart issues. So
Yeah,
there are things that we are born into,
that's
right?
right.
But we have agency, we have
Yes.
autonomy. And it's just, that's what I'm hoping to do, is just to change the narrative, especially in our community, just understanding that you have a choice.
Yeah.
Although it's
hmm
really hard to make that change, but it's
hmm
possible. You've done it,
It's
It's
possible, and it's
possible.
worth it. It is. I will tell you this. It is arguably one of the hardest things that I've done as far as like changing my habits, because to your point, there were some things that were kind of baked in. There were
Hmm.
some habits, and even now I'll think of something or have a craving for something, and I'm like, that's because I used to, or because this
Hmm.
person always, or because we did this thing every year for and it has to become bigger than the programming, right? You talk about bigger than the
Yeah,
program. It's become bigger than the programming. And
absolutely.
it's like when you know that, to your point earlier about that you don't feel good after a certain thing or after doing a certain thing, that's where the metacognition kicks in. And you say, I
Hmm.
gotta think about this thought. Because this thought is something, but I gotta think about why I'm having it.
Yeah.
And really
Yeah.
begin to move from information to embodiment and that application.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we have the information. We do.
Yes.
We have it. We have that inner knowingness, but and there but and even with social media, there's so much information, people are overwhelmed with information.
Yeah.
But, really embodying it is a different ball game. Like
Yeah.
it takes a lot of intention. I think people need to just maybe ask themselves, like, what is my why?
Yes.
For me, I mean, I like to look good. I do.
And
I
you do. And
I,
you do look
I
good,
like to look
girl.
good, but and so that's a big part of it, being able to
Right.
fit in my jeans.
Right.
But my why, I think, was just watching a lot of family members be sick when they didn't have to be sick. And
Yeah.
also, too, like just watching my mom really struggle,
Mm-hmm.
like, and
Mm-hmm.
not being able to enjoy the fruits of her labor, not being able to enjoy her grandchildren, not being
Yeah.
able to enjoy life because she was in so much pain. And
Mm.
so that was my why. Like, okay, I want to be able to get up off the toilet. I don't want my kids to have to take care of me at 70,
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to just be really hard with yourself.
Yes.
You got to just say, listen, I got to make some serious changes because sickness is real. It's
Yeah.
it's real in our community and it's rampant, and
Yeah.
we got to make some changes. So it's like, yeah, embodying that concept of health takes a lot of work, but it
Mm-hmm.
just comes back to, how do you want to feel? What's your
Yeah.
why? What does your life look like to you?
Yeah. And knowing that you're worth it. That
Mm-hmm.
you are worth it. Your life is worth it. Your children are worth it. Your community needs
Yes,
you. Right. So
absolutely.
it's worth it.
Absolutely. That's what I tell myself. Like, God intended for us to be well. He created us well. It's our birthright to be well, to live well, to be healthy.
Yes.
And that's what I tell myself in those moments where I'm tired or I don't feel like working out, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, yeah, but I'm not living the way God intended me to live,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. And then we get to do it, right? That's what I tell
Yes.
myself. We get
Yes.
to work out. And we
Yes.
get to eat healthy. We
Yes.
get to make choices. And something you said earlier that I want to touch on a little bit before we go into the rapid fire, that fasting piece is so important. Like, I wish more of us would be in touch with that, because even from the standpoint, and we could go on down a rabbit hole on
Yes.
fasting, but from the standpoint of evolution, This is what I'll leave y'all with on this piece. And I want you to touch on this. From an evolutionary standpoint, this whole notion of having 24-hour access to food is very, very new for the human body. And so we think that you should be snacking or eating or have access to food all the time. That is not normal for us as a species.
It's not normal. It's not. Our bodies are not, they're not built for that, you know, and we have normalized it, especially in this country, right? Yes. Like my son went to Mexico City and he was blown away at the food, the portions, you know, and his friend was like, "Oh, I hope you're not hungry, because those are the portions." And he came home, he said, "Mom, wow. Like I realized we just overconsume."
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Fasting it was a game changer for me. It really was. Like, it was a way for me to not only regulate my metabolism, but my blood sugar, my weight, my mood, my energy levels. In my 30s and probably in my 40s, I was crashing. Like 2-3 o'clock, crashing.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore. You know, I've been able to maintain my weight. I broke my foot in August and then fractured it, broke my toe in August, and then broke the same foot in December.
Oh my gosh.
So I hadn't been able to work out. And I was going into a little bit of a depression, but I did not gain weight. I did not gain weight. And it was because of my intermittent fasting. Yeah. It was because of the food that I put in so that's, if we could just get that message, like.
Man, I know. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So let's do a rapid fire, because we could be on that all night. Rapid fire. 3 questions for you. What is one awareness shift right now that if you could like wave a magic wand, one awareness shift that you would want every woman to make? And maybe you just said it, the food, but
I was gonna say like the food piece is big for me. An awareness shift is that you have to honor yourself first. Yeah. I think as women, even now we're seeing it in this stage in life where we have children, we have aging parents, we have a lot of we have partners, you know, we have a lot of responsibilities, right? And I think when I decided to really focus on myself and stop saying yes to everyone, you know, a lot of people thought like, what's going on with Angela? You know, well, that's not like her, because I'm a yes person. I'm a people pleaser. I want to make people feel good. There were certain things that I just stopped saying yes to, and I really focused on myself, like carving out time. Like I tell mothers today, like, oh, I don't have time to work out. I'm on carpool and I have to do this and I have to take this. You got 15 minutes that you can focus on yourself, whether it's stepping outside of your car while your kids are at track practice and doing some stretching or some lunging. So I think just focus on yourself. Yeah. Even if it's 15 minutes.
Yes.
That would be my one suggestion, I think.
Let's say, what's one thing that you think everyone should have in her pantry or her fridge?
One thing?
Yeah, like the one thing, like a superfood, of your favorite thing, whether it's a snack or like a healthy thing.
Nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a few things. I don't know if I have one thing, but I would definitely say nuts, fruit, like seasonal fruit.
Yes.
If ever I'm hungry, I just go to nuts and fruit, you know, because that fiber, that protein, it's going to make you feel satiated. It's going to get you through. I keep basics in my house so that if ever I'm hungry, I can make something really nutrient dense. So I keep a lot of beans, legumes, you know, even if it's canned beans, you know, black beans, chickpeas.
What's your blood type, Angela? Are you A?
I'm A.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm A positive.
Based on your list, because I can't have those things.
Yeah.
I miss those things. I can't have those things.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. It's like you keep things that are going to make you feel energetic,
Yes.
satiated, whether it's, healthy fats, avocados, eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I do a lot of herbal teas because I think we tend to snack when, sometimes it's just, you just want something in your mouth. You just,
Just to graze a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, those are
Okay.
kind of my go-tos.
Those are good things. And what's one truth that you think is important to know when it comes to living a sovereign life and living in your sovereignty?
One truth,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that we are the next ancestor. I tell myself that all the time. I'm the next ancestor.
I say that too.
And
Yeah.
what do I need to do to serve myself well and serve my family well?
Yeah.
And knowing that I have the tools because they're already in me. 3, 4, 5, 6 generations, they're already in me. So just understanding that even through the doubt, the fear, I have what I need. It's just understanding, what I got to do to bring it forth. But yeah, just understanding that, I'm making my mark and what do I want that to look like? So my truth, I want to be well. I want to be well for my children. I want to be a wonderful representation of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the truth that guides me.
Yeah. I love that. This has been so good. So nourishing for my soul, girl. This has been so good. I love this.
Too. Mine too. Yeah. I really love how we connected. I'm drawn to your page. I love what you're doing. It's so necessary.
Likewise.
It's so necessary because you're just real and you allow people to, just connect because, you're living it. You're living it. You're showing it. You're authentic. And I think that's what allows people to see themselves in you. Like, and that's what community is about. It's about, I can do this and so can you,
I love that. And what's so funny is that was not the intention. I honestly, I did not do social media on purpose. It was a very organic, it was not planful, and now I'm so grateful because I do love people. I do love, I always had said I have a heart for people and a mind for business. And so I never really got to be in the heart space a lot. I was so focused on, to your point about the masculine energy, I was so focused on my career and corporate, and then my heart stuff kind of got reserved and flexed a little bit. But now I feel like there's been a complete flip in that sense where I get to focus more on the heart.
I can see it. Yeah.
And it's been such a blessing. So I love that. And I love that you're part of my community.
It really is. It's really beautiful to watch your journey. I enjoy it. I know everybody else does. And it's necessary. And I love what you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me today.
Oh,
I'm so grateful.
For having me.
Yes, of course. Tell everybody who's listening, how can they learn more about 100 Healthy Women? How can they be a part of it? How can I be 101, girl? I want to be 101. How can we participate?
Yes, come. Yes, because we believe 100 healthy women organized the right way can heal the world. That's what we believe. And it's not going to be 100. We're growing it to 10,000, right?
Yes,
that's our goal nationwide. So we are at 100healthywomen.com. Our Instagram is 100 Healthy Women Community.
Yeah.
And we're also on TikTok. I'm trying to get into TikTok, but we're on TikTok, 100 Healthy Women.
Girl, just put whatever you put on Instagram over there. It'll be perfect.
Yeah. And my Instagram is Quinn Kenzo. It's named after my kids.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Angela.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. You have the best energy. I mean, from the very first message to this moment, you have the best energy.
Oh.
And I'm so grateful that we crossed paths.
Yes,
and,
me too.
This is why, to me, this is the whole purpose of social media, is this level of socialization.
Yes.
And so my hope is that before the end of the year, we get to be in the same room. We get to do all kinds of things together, maybe take a trip, girl.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm looking forward to doing it with you.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. This has been incredible. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes. Thank you,
so
Angela.
much.
Thank you. And thank y'all for listening. If you enjoyed it, please, by all means, leave a little star, give us a rating, give us a subscription, forward this to other people, forward this to other women who you think also have the aspiration to be one of the 100, 10,000, 10 million healthy women, because we have it in us to do it.
We do.
Thank y'all so much.